Open the scripts folder and you'll see some JavaScript files. For example, if I click on deploy ethers.js, you'll see some code to deploy the storage contract. So in this video, I'll show you how to execute this script. The first thing that we'll have to do is compile the storage contract. The storage contract is located under contracts 1 storage.sol. First, we'll need to compile this. So I'll use the keyboard shortcut Ctrl S to compile the contract. Once the contract compiles successfully, next we'll execute the script, so we'll navigate to deploy ethers.js. Now notice that besides deploy ethers.js, there's also a file called deploy web3.js. These two scripts do the same thing, deploy the storage contract. Deploy web3.js uses the web3 library, whereas deploy ethers.js uses the ethers.js library. For this example, we'll execute this script. Let's take a moment to look at what this code does. We set the constructor name to storage and the constructor arguments. The storage contract doesn't have any constructor arguments, so here it is empty. Artifacts path, this is where the abi.json is located. For this file to exist, the contract has to be compiled. And in our case, after we compile the storage contract, the artifacts will be located under contracts, artifacts, storage.json. Once the contract is compiled, we'll have the JSON file that we can pass to the call await_remix.call, passing in the artifacts path. Call to this function will return two things, the ABI and the bytecode, and the rest of the code deploys the contract. Let's execute this script. So I'll navigate back to scripts, deploy ether.js, and I'll also open my console so that we'll be able to see some of the console logs. To execute the script, I'll right click and then hit run. And notice that we get some logs back. Next, let's modify the script and deploy some other contract. So first, let's create a contract to deploy. So I'm going to create a contract inside the contracts folder, and then I'll name it test remix script.sol. For this example, let's pass in some parameters to the constructor. Inside the constructor, we'll initialize some state variables. We'll initialize two state variables for this example, a string public, I'll call it name, and a uint public, I'll call it num. And I'll declare a constructor by typing constructor, passing string, memory, underscore, name, and the second parameter, uint, num. And then we'll initialize it by typing name is equal to name from the input. And the state variable num is equal to num from the input. I'll hit Ctrl S to compile the contract. And notice that after we compile the contract, we have test remix script.json under the folder contracts artifacts. Next, we'll deploy this contract, so we'll modify deploy ethers.js. The contract name will be test remix script. And for the constructor argument, the first argument will be a name, so I'll name it remix. And the second parameter was a number, I'll put in 1 to 3. And we're now ready to execute the script. So I'll navigate to the script, under scripts, deploy ether.js, and make sure that I open my console logs, and then right click on the script and then hit run. And again, the script executed and we were able to deploy the contract. We deployed the contract onto a blockchain that is running inside the browser, but we can also run the exact same script and deploy the contract onto a testnet. So to do that, the first thing that we'll need to do is switch the network. So I'll click on this deploy tab and then switch the environment from JavaScript VM to injected web3. For this example, I'll be deploying the contract to Rinkeby testnet. Once we switch the networks, I'll go back to the scripts, right click and then hit run. You'll notice that MetaMask will pop up, so I'll hit confirm. And after waiting about a minute, the contract is deployed to Rinkeby testnet at this address. So that is how you can run the script on a testnet by switching over networks. Now for this example, I've showed you how to execute this script to deploy a contract, but you can do more with it. Anything that you can do with ether.js, you can write some code in here and execute it. For example, you can write some code using ether.js to call contract and get some data. Thanks for watching, and for more, please subscribe.